Auto Union have never had any luck at Monaco, and this year is to be no exception. From the start, the W125s of Caracciola and von Brauchitsch lead Rosemeyer's C-Type, but before the lap has been completed, the Silver Arrows from Zwickau are down to 2 cars when Rudolf Hasse crashes heavily as he leaves the tunnel. He's taken to hospital, but he's not seriously hurt. They're reduced to 1 car, Hans Stuck's, on lap 19, when Rosemeyer's steering fails and his Auto Union rams the straw bales at the gasometer hairpin. From then on, the battle rages between von Brauchitsch and Caracciola, seen here at the station hairpin. As the senior Mercedes driver, Rudy reckons that he ought to win, but Manfred has played second fiddle too often and decides that on this day he will prevail. The 2 W125s are often side by side as they roar through the streets of Monaco, and it's an exultant von Brauchitsch who emerges victorious. And Stuck and Rosemeyer share 4th place in this Auto Union. Despite the fact that von Brauchitsch has denied him victory, Caracciola holds no grudge, and after Mercedes' victory dinner, the 2 men do a lap of honor in a horse-drawn cab. As a result of his crash in the German Grand Prix, Dick Seaman missed the Monaco race, but when Hermann Lang falls ill, Alfred Neubauer presses Dick into service for the Coppa Acerbo. It's a wasted effort, for in practice, a brake locks on Seaman's W125 and he hits a house very hard indeed. He's unhurt, but the car is beyond repair in time for the race. The crash happens close to the 13-kilometer post on August the 13th, and 13 has always been unlucky for Dick Seaman. The race on the 16-mile circuit provides a repeat victory for Rosemeyer. Here's Muller, Luigi Fagioli, and Farina in the new V12 Alpha. Hans Stuck roars through Capelli village. Muller again, followed by Caracciola. Teammates von Brauchitsch and Caracciola. This is Raymond Sommer in his Alpha. Caracciola leads Stuck and von Brauchitsch. And here's Fagioli in the pits with a leaking radiator. Suffering badly from rheumatism, the Italian has missed the last 6 races and will soon be forced to retire altogether. Repairs are effected, and he rejoins the race to finish 4th. Meanwhile, Rosemeyer goes on his winning way. Caracciola's Mercedes is misfiring badly, and he's back in 5th place. Muller is a good 3rd. So Rosemeyer wins for the 2nd year running. How could he lose? This is the 13th Coppa Acerbo, and 13 is Bern's lucky number. He wins in record time and sets a new lap record at 90.22 miles per hour. Von Brauchitsch is 2nd for Mercedes, and Muller 3rd for Auto Union.
Sie haben uns ja einen schönen Schrecken eingejagt. Es war ja ein doller Zwischenfall. Wir haben gehört, dass Ihr Hinterrad 30 Sekunden vor Ihnen im Depot war und Sie kamen dann auf 3 Rädern hinterher. Ist ja doll. Sagen Sie mal, wie haben Sie das fertig bekommen, den Wagen noch über die 250 Meter heil hinzusteuern?
Ja, was heißt jetzt 250 Meter? Das war schon 2 Kilometer vorher passiert. Da habe ich nicht quer gestanden, habe ein Rad blockiert und ich zwitscher hinten an einen Stein. Dann hat die Radkappe so einen unglücklichen Schlag bekommen, dass sie in entgegengesetzter Drehrichtung abgeflogen ist. Jetzt habe ich schon immer darauf gelauert, dass sie das Rad selbstständig machte. Jetzt bin ich schon die 2 Kilometer bis zum Notdepot. Ich wusste, dass das 2 Kilometer waren, ungefähr. Und da bin ich immer schon vorsichtig gefahren, immer auf Druck, damit das Rad sich nicht selbstständig machte. Das hat immer schon so geschlagen. Dann wie ich dann beim Notdepot schon blinken sah, dann hat es sich wirklich selbstständig gemacht. Da habe ich gesagt, oh Verzeihung, jetzt ist doch mal, da war es passiert. Und schon stand ich gleich quer und ich habe ihn gleich abgefangen. Wie man so, wie ich das gemacht hat, weiß ich auch nicht, das macht man ganz instinktiv.
Ja.
Und dann bin ich halt die 200 Meter oder 300 Meter auf der Bremstrommel weitergefahren.
Ja, und sagen Sie, war das nicht furchtbar schwierig am Notdepot, jetzt den Wagen wieder in Ordnung zu bringen?
Ach, ich habe ja selbst mit angefasst und dann ging das ruckzuck. Ich hatte so eine kleine Rakete im Hintern, weil der Caracciola doch hinter mir war.
Rudolf Caracciola then scores a hat-trick of victories for Mercedes-Benz, winning the Swiss, Italian and Czech Grand Prix in swift succession. The last race of the year is the first International Grand Prix for Donington, and a huge crowd arrives to watch the now legendary Silver Arrows. Unfortunately, local hero Dick Seaman is punted off the road soon after the start by Muller's Auto Union. A rear shock absorber is damaged, and he eventually retires after 29 laps. Rudolf Hasse leads Bernd Rosemeyer round the Melbourne corner and up the hill to the start and finish line. And Caracciola's Mercedes flies over the Melbourne hump. Caracciola leads von Brauchitsch, and Seaman is just ahead of the Auto Unions of Rosemeyer and Muller. The sheer speed and noise of the German cars stuns the British spectators, who've never seen or heard anything like the Silver Arrows before. Leading the race, Manfred von Brauchitsch dives inside H.P. Muller at Melbourne. Professor Aberon watches as Rosemeyer, now in the lead, makes a pit stop for tyres on lap 33, letting the Mercedes of Caracciola and von Brauchitsch go by before he can rejoin the race. Rosemeyer is on top of his considerable form, however, and drives his Auto Union to a superb victory, ahead of the Mercedes of von Brauchitsch and Caracciola. But the seat of his overalls needs some swift attention before he can accept his prize. Bernd and Caracciola have each won 4 races this season, but Rudy has done better in the ones that count, and so the Mercedes driver, seen here at Monaco during his epic battle with von Brauchitsch, is declared European champion for 1937. On October the 26th, the first National Rekordwoche, or Speed Week, for cars and motorcycles, is held on the Frankfurt-Darmstadt Autobahn. Walfried Winkler sets 8 new records on his 175cc DKW, and Edward Kluger sets 6 on his 250cc machine. Auto Union and Mercedes arrive with special streamliners, both teams determined to be the first to achieve 400 kph, 250 miles per hour on the road. Mercedes are in trouble almost immediately with their V12 5.6-litre machine. Rudolf Caracciola reports that at around 245 miles per hour, the air pressure under the car lifts the nose so much he can hardly see where he's going, and the front wheels are barely touching the road. Rudy considers the car to be so dangerous that he refuses to drive it again, and to make the point, he returns to Frankfurt. Hermann Lang is now persuaded to have a go and experiences the same frightening lift as Caracciola. He has some extra excitement when air pressure blows off the engine cover at over 200 miles per hour. Next day, the car returns with revised bodywork, but is no faster than before. In an effort to salvage some pride, Caracciola attempts a few standing start records with a W125 Grand Prix car, and when that fails, Mercedes return to Stuttgart. They're utterly humiliated by Auto Union. Bernd Rosemeyer gains 2 world records with this Grand Prix car, the standing start kilometer at 117.25 miles per hour and the standing start mile at 135.23 miles per hour. Then with the Streamliner, he sets 14 class records over 2 days. These include the flying kilometer and flying mile at a shattering speed of just over 406 kph, 252 miles per hour. Bernd has achieved his ambition. We'll leave the last word to the German commentator.
In höchster Fahrt durchrast Bernd Rosemeyer das Startband. 1 Sekunde, 2, 3, 4 Sekunden. Die Hälfte der Strecke ist zurückgelegt. 800 Meter. Bernd Rosemeyer rast dem Ziel entgegen. 7 Sekunden. Jetzt, das Ziel ist erreicht. 1 Kilometer in 8,8 Sekunden. Bernd Rosemeyer hat die 400 Kilometer.
Severely embarrassed by their abject failure in the record Wacker, Mercedes decide to try and break Auto Union's flying kilometer and mile records with a much revised version of their Streamliner. And now, on the morning of January the 28th, Caracciola is back on the Frankfurt-Darmstadt Autobahn. This time the Mercedes performs superbly, and Rudy shatters Rosemeyer's records, setting the astounding average speed of 268.7 miles per hour for the kilometer and 268.87 for the mile. On one run, he achieves 271.35 miles per hour, and all this on a 2-lane road. Convinced that with a higher axle ratio he can go even faster, Caracciola returns to Frankfurt with his wife for breakfast. Meanwhile, Auto Union arrive at the Autobahn, and they too have a new Streamliner. Dr. Porsche's contract with the company has now expired, and so the new car has been designed by Professor Eberhard Eberhorst, who's made some radical changes to the body. He's raised the sides to the top of the wheel arches and added fairings all along the bottom of the bodywork. These fairings channel air under the car, creating a vacuum effect, sucking the vehicle onto the road and improving its high-speed stability enormously. Rosemeyer recently tried this new machine on the Halle-Leipzig Autobahn and was very impressed. Now, despite the wintry conditions, he cannot wait to regain his records from Caracciola. Just after 11 o'clock, Rosemeyer sets off and records 276.1 miles per hour on his return run, 5 miles per hour better than Caracciola's best. But he complains that the engine hasn't reached the required temperature. After the radiator opening has been closed off a little, he departs once more and never returns. The Auto Union is struck by a gust of wind at around 270 miles per hour. Even the great Rosemeyer is powerless to save himself. The Streamliner crashes to destruction. Bernd is found lying among some trees beside the Autobahn. He leaves Ellie and their son Bernd Jr., not yet 3 months old. In just 3 seasons, Rosemeyer has won 10 Grand Prix, establishing himself as one of the greatest of all drivers, and his good looks and charismatic personality have endeared him to millions. His death is a national tragedy, and his widow receives condolences from Adolf Hitler and Rudolf Hess, as well as thousands of ordinary Germans.